With a population of about 446 million, the 27-member European Union, or EU, is the largest and most powerful trade bloc in the world. The euro is the world's second most important currency, supporting the EU's position as the world's largest exporter of manufactured goods and services. And because it can, apparently, the EU has appointed itself God, specifically the god of taxes, the god of anti-money laundering, and the god of combating the financing of terrorism. Going forward, I'll refer to these matters collectively as compliance. So the EU has appointed itself the god of compliance, just like that. And to demonstrate its unholy authority, the EU publishes a blacklist and a list of high-risk countries, of those condemned to hell because of our supposed non-compliance. So how exactly does the EU go about compiling these lists? Well, in the first place, the EU makes up its own rules. You see, money laundering and terrorism financing are specific crimes which carry standard legal definitions. But the EU has conveniently chosen to include non-legal criteria, such as whether a country has an offshore financial center, whether or not a country has strong economic ties with the EU, and whether you are classified as a least developed country by the United Nations. Secondly, the EU then applies its already unorthodox rules on compliance only to certain countries. These rules do not apply to EU countries, so they will never appear on these blacklists. But did you know that a 2019 Dutch study found that 13 billion euros are laundered through the Netherlands each year? And the European Parliament found that Ireland and Hungary display tax haven characteristics. But you won't find these or any other EU country on any EU blacklist. The EU also spares its powerful allies. The recent FinCEN leak revealed that British entities were largely responsible for laundering some $2 trillion US, mostly out of Russia. And the EU's powerful allies, which have been accused of financing terrorism, such as Saudi Arabia and China, well, guess what? They all get a pass. So the EU appoints itself God, installs a convenient filter at the pearly gates, grants itself and its friends eternal salvation, and then weaponizes this filter by condemning to hell whoever it wants by blacklisting us. The EU's blacklist and list of high-risk countries combined consists of Afghanistan, American Samoa, the Bahamas, Barbados, Botswana, Cambodia, Fiji, Ghana, Guam, Iran, Iraq, Jamaica, Mauritius, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nicaragua, North Korea, Pakistan, Palau, Panama, Samoa, Seychelles, Syria, Trinidad and Tobago, Uganda, the US Virgin Islands, Vanuatu, Yemen, and Zimbabwe. Do you notice anything about these countries? Apart from being relatively small and vulnerable, every one of these countries was once colonized by Europeans. And furthermore, not one single country currently on these EU lists is predominantly white. When I dare to call out the EU's behavior as institutionalized discrimination and economic warfare, the Europhiles among us suggest that perhaps the reason every single country on these lists is a relatively weak, non-white former European colony is either A, pure coincidence, or B, that we are in fact the world's most criminal, corrupt, money laundering, tax shielding, shady people who deserve to be named, shamed, and condemned by the gods themselves. But the evidence is clear. Whether by design or inadvertently, the EU as an institution has adopted a discriminatory stance against some of the world's smallest and most disadvantaged countries. Our total share of global economic activity is less than 5% combined. The EU's blacklisting is a stunningly effective smear campaign, inflicting sufficient reputational damage to make it virtually impossible for us to compete economically. This is not a level playing field, and it never has been. How in the 21st century could a featherweight be asked to step into the ring with a giant in a no-holds-barred, bare-knuckles fight to the death? If the EU is not held to account now for its bullying, the economic warfare and institutionalized discrimination will continue to thrive globally. The time has come, and this has to stop now. I call on the United Nations to intervene on behalf of all of its blacklisted members and denounce the EU's actions now, because there is simply no other recourse available to us. And in closing, I call on the EU to finally do the right thing, to cease its long-standing bullying, discrimination, and economic warfare, targeting weaker, non-white former colonies. Now that the evidence is clear, anything less should be seen as defiantly discriminatory and totally unacceptable.